Well, imagine if in the future, instead of maybe going to your weekly session with your therapist, you wake up in the morning, you walk over to your computer, you turn it on, and you start talking to a therapist. It asks you how your day went. It talks you through some of your problems. Maybe computerized psychiatry really is the future. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How long it is before that actually happens, how far away we are from it, and in what ways it's already being used today. Joining us in our hangout from Berkeley, California, we've got Gabriella Rosen Kellerman, physician, writer, and documentary filmmaker. From Boston, Massachusetts, Matt Muller, student at Babson College. And from Ithaca, New York, Peter Breggin, psychiatrist and the author of Psychiatric Drug Withdrawal. So hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Gabriella, we are going to start with you because you actually wrote this piece in The Atlantic and said, "The extremely personal computer, the digital future of mental health." So can you give us, a little more background into the details?
Sure. I'd say that piece was 2 parts satire, 1 part truth. And it was a look at 2018 and how people might be using computers as psychiatrists then. But the truth is that, as you mentioned, a lot of that is already happening. People are already using online psychotherapy. Even the VA has embraced it, and at various outposts, our veterans are getting their psychotherapy through computers. And then, of course, a lot of people without mental illness are using similar computer applications to just enhance their overall brain fitness. And it's really becoming something that people are embracing on a very widespread level.
Now, Dr. Breggin, when we talk about things like this, it might seem very futuristic, but in fact, this idea, right, that we're going to shift a lot of the responsibility onto machines and computers, it's been around for quite a while, right?
Yeah, this idea goes way back. When I applied to my Harvard residency program back in the 1963 or so, give you an idea about how far back I go, I originally thought I was going to a psychological, psychoanalytic, psychosocial program. But that year that I arrived, they politically changed the program. It wasn't a scientific revolution, it was a political one, to psychiatric drugs and social control and hospital management. They literally just changed it. We're moving toward computers and drugs, computerized diagnosis and treatment and medication. There's a myth that psychiatry is a science that evolves scientifically over time. In fact, it's devolved considerably since the 60s, and it has simply become an arm of the pharmaceutical industry now. All psychiatric research practically is funded by the pharmaceutical industry. All the organizations are funded by the pharmaceutical industry.
And then also I would say that to the extent that it certainly has become what some call clinical neuropharmacology, where psychiatrists are pharmacists in a way, as you're saying. I think that this computerized version has the potential to offer a lot more patients much better care in a very whole sense, like you're talking about, by bringing access to quality therapy, at least cognitive behavioral, one type of therapy, which is really where these programs are targeted. So I think that this, in a way, is a very optimistic development, that more people are going to have access to better and more affordable psychiatric care.
Let me say something overarching. Human suffering is almost invariably about human relationship. It's not about figuring out something in your head. It's about understanding how to care more for yourself, appreciate yourself more, how to treat other people better. And the turning to computers and the turning to drugs and the turning to diagnoses is actually, I think, a symptom of exactly what makes people crazy. So it's like healing people with the craziness. I don't think it'll work. And that's what psychiatric drugs are about. All they do is reduce your humanity. They can do nothing more than take, at their best, take the edge off of your feeling. I'd say that computers can be useful educational tools, but the point that is critical above all else is that human beings are social. Our brains are social. If you want to talk about the hardware, our brains are built out of those first few years of life. Our nerves develop in response to the caring and the nurturing. And I think it's a disaster to think that that can be replaced without actually creating a psychotic society. I think we really need to think about what are we really doing, because what people really need is each other.